Good afternoon. Welcome to my live this afternoon. My name is Jenny McCormack from Gemini Crafts. I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is near Silverstone in the heart of the UK. If you've been listening to me during the week, or you've caught any of my lives or my catch-up videos, then you will know that I've been stamping a scene each week. So each day rather. So each day I've stamped a different scene. And Friday today I thought still stamping a scene but slightly differently. So bear with me while I just make sure I'm in the right place and doing the right thing. Hi Katie, thank you for joining us. I hope you've had a good week. The sun has finally come out here. It was very dull this morning, but the sun has actually come out, so that's always good. Okay. So if you're watching me on catch up, feel free to comment and I can respond to your comments later on. If you're not watching on my Gemini Crafts page, but you're on one of my other pages, so Coffee and Card or Crafty Sprinkles, for example, then I won't see your comments. Hi Pauline, Julia and Katie, thanks for joining me so far. So, I thought I'd do something different today, and it's not a style I've done for quite a while, but it is featuring a stamp set that I haven't actually used. And I've now lost, that's it, no I haven't, I've lost the stamp case with it in. Here we go. So, it is called, as you can see, Framed for You. And the reason that I'm using it is just because of this frame here. Okay, not actually going to use the other components. Not for today anyway. This is really pretty, as is this. But I'm just going to use this picture frame. And what I'm going to do is stamp a scene behind the picture frame. So what I've done is I found my Layering Squares framelets, and some of these squares, there's a whole series of them, as you can see. It's a great pack. They're alternately scalloped on the outside and then plain edges. So what I've done is I've picked out 3 of these. So if I just get my stamp there, so this one is going to cut the inside of the picture frame. The largest one is going to cut the outside of the picture frame, and the one in between is going to be the piece that I stamp on, so that it doesn't pop out the side. So it's just very slightly smaller, as you can see, literally about 2 millimeters smaller than the outside edge. And the plan is to create a picture frame like this. Now what I've done is I've actually stamped quite a few. You wouldn't need to stamp all of them, to be honest, because then I could stack them up together to make quite a thick frame, and you could then put your scene in between some of the layers to make it look like an authentic frame. So if I wanted to do this as a really special card, I would probably do 6 pieces in the back, and then 3 pieces in the back, sorry, and then another 3 on the front to make it a really thick photo frame. So that is the plan. So let me show you what we did earlier in the week, just really quickly. Let me see. So this was Monday's one, This is for anybody who hasn't seen, and if you have seen it, I apologise already. And I did a watercolour version of that. And then we did this one on Tuesday, combining the two on Wednesday. Hi Stacey. Hi Molly. See if anybody else has snuck in that I haven't seen. And then I did this one yesterday. So this is the one actually that gave me the idea for using the frame. I did a bit of paper piecing here and some brairing in the background. And then this was just another version, just showing you that you could use the edge piece that I cut out for the frame. And I just happened to have another piece there that I put together. So what we're going to do today is recreate a small version of this. So it may only be the mountains, because you're only going to see this element of it. But I want it to look like it's on the wall of a house. Hi Claire. So my thought, and this is all in my head, so it's just always a bit dangerous, isn't it? I'd choose some wallpaper and then put the frame on the wallpaper, if that makes any sense. Now obviously this frame could actually be any colour. I've chosen to do it as wood because the stamp itself has a wood design that you can see. Now if you didn't have the stamp but you had the square framelets, you could effectively just cut those into a square. I do like the effect, it's much more authentic. So I've got 3 lots of choices for my design of wallpaper. So I've got this one here with a little bit of navy blue, because I've got a navy blue card, and this one here. So I'll choose this a bit later, whichever one you think would look nice. I've also got this one here, but I could change the base colour of the card. So we'll come back to that and you can choose which of those you like. These papers are all from the Playing with Patterns designer paper, so they're 6 inches by 6 inches as they come to you, and they are exactly what they say, patterns. Oh, that's the same one on, yes Jenny, it's Friday. So we're going to come back to that. I'm going to show you how to do the frame to start with. Now I'm going to put that, but I won't lose it. So this would be great for a new home card, or it could be good for a retirement card. Any of those really. So I have done these already, but I'll talk you through the process of doing them. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do it. I've got some crumb cake card here. I've got my frame, and I have some early espresso ink. Hi Jeanette. So I'm just going to ink this up. So this is early espresso ink, but this could equally be a coloured ink. I might try a Night of Navy on there to see what that looks like. Now I have got a ridge in my tile, so I am being careful to stamp above that ridge, like so. Now if you're cutting out all the pieces behind to do a really thick layer, you don't have to cut out the middle, you could just cut out the outside, to be honest. I'm just going to try that with Night of Navy to see what it looks like. That might be a complete failure. So thanks to anybody who heard my interview on the radio this morning. So I was talking about Coffee and Card and our class in a box. It's on our local radio, which is on the internet. So if you missed it and you want to hear it, I'll pop up the times when it's repeated. I also have a copy of the actual interview itself. But it's a local community radio, Brackley Radio, which is great. It's music all of the time, no adverts, and then on Friday mornings, Alan and Tracy from Brackley do a community bit for an hour, and I was on that this morning. Okay, let's have a look and see what this looks like. Okay, well, it works quite nice actually. Could be tempted with that. Okay, so if you want to stamp as many layers as you want, that's absolutely fine. If you don't have a die cutting machine, you could just cut some squares, just cut them really accurately, and then all you would need to do is you could cut a smaller one to put inside, or if you had a craft knife, you could cut around the inside edge. So there's lots of different ways of doing that. If I was doing this really accurately, I would actually cut my hole in the paper first, then I would stamp my image, because as you'll see, when this goes on this particular die, the die piece is inset. On our new style dies they're not, so you can't be exactly sure where that is. You know, you can't see that little gap, can you? But you'll see what I mean when I cut it out. Okay, so let me bring up my die cutting machine so that you can see. There we go. So this is our new die cutting machine. If you've got one already, then I'm sure that will absolutely do the job. It's quite large when it's opened up. These pieces fold up to make it quite small. Sorry about the noise, that made you jump. Okay, so I've got my plate on here, and I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to move this over a little bit. So here is my frame that I've got. I'm going to angle this slightly. If you remember me telling you that you want the pressure of anything going through the rollers to be at an angle. So if you put it like this, it's got a lot of work to do in literally a millimetre. If you angle it like so, the more the better really, then that pressure is spread, okay, across that. Just need the plate for the top. And what I'm going to do is do the outside at the same time. Now this is a perfect time to actually use our new magnetic plate, because these would clamp down and not move. But as I've loaded them up there, I'm just going to leave them like that. Okay, putting my plate on the top. I'm just going to wind that through. Try not to knock the stand that my webcam is on. If I do and you go dizzy, I apologise. Okay, let me take that out of the way. Hi Julie. There we go. So this is the one that I did in blue. So can you see this is not exactly accurate, the way that I've done that. If I'd done the cutting first, then when I used the stamp it would have been easier to see, but you would have then had to have done it in two run-throughs to make it most accurate. So this is my piece, and I've got vanilla and white because I wasn't quite sure. So this piece is going to go behind, and this will have my scene on. And as you can see, this is slightly smaller than that front frame. And then I've got all of these other frames which I can sort of mix and match in here as well if I wish. So if I wanted to have 2 on the front and 2 behind to build up this frame, then I could do that. And as I say, you don't actually have to cut out that middle section for anything that's behind. And if you wanted a really effective frame, you could add a piece of window sheet, which again you could cut on the Big Shot. So if I just cut out a piece like that, I'll keep the tissue paper there because otherwise if you put it down you can't find it. So if I cut one to that size, I could do this on the trimmer as well. Then put that back with the others. So not a floral image in sight this week, which makes a change, doesn't it, for me? Okay, so what I could do now is layer those when I've got my scene and layer that on top, and you can see, hopefully, that I've got the frame. Okay, does that all make sense so far? Hi Sarah. Okay, so that was 3 sizes, one for the outside, one for the inside, so this would make the frame. There's nothing wrong with using the ovals as well. You can make it into an oval frame or a circular frame. Okay, you could also use our stitched ones, and then this layer which is in between I've used for the panel that I'm going to stamp my scene on. Okay, you could just cut those out manually, you know, just create your own size of frame really, but I do like the fact that this is stamped in the wood and the wood grain goes around, because I thought, oh, I could stamp you know, 4 bits, but it's quite complicated then getting this mitered corner and everything. Make sure I don't lose that piece of window sheet. Okay, so I'm going to do some mountains in the background, and I think I'm going to do them in a sort of navy and a blue colour. Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Hope you're, I don't think you're back, you've been home and gone out again, as I seem to recall. So obviously you've arrived safe and well. So I've got Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, and I'm just looking for Seaside. Just here. And a piece of wood paper. So bear in mind, I've only got a small area to work on. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to when you were starting, start with a bigger piece and just put some little marks to know what area you need. That would be probably a more sensible way than to do it. I know that I'm going to come in, that's going to be my finished size, on the inside of that. So what I could do is apply a little bit of washi tape to hold this piece down, because it is now quite small. Alright, now I'm doing a picture frame card. So actually it starts off very similar to a shaker card. So this is going to be my picture frame here. You can see that. And then I'm going to put my scene behind. So I'm just putting a little bit of washi tape on here. That one's finished. Just to really hold this in place. I haven't got that very straight either. Like so. Let me straighten that up, because that will annoys some of you. I know. I'm not mentioning any names. Okay, so if you wanted to make this easier for yourself, don't cut this piece too small to start with. Just cut it slightly bigger and then mark where you're going to work down to. That's a bit better. Okay, hopefully I won't have cut that in too far. Let's have a look and see. That's perfect. As long as I can't see the tape, I know that my scene will be big enough to fit on there. Okay, so I'm going to start with the mountains. Just need to find the stamp set. Which I've got out ready. Here it is, right in front of me. So this is the Mountain Air stamp set that I used earlier in the week. So I'm going to do these mountains. Another set that's probably too big for this, although this set of trees would work. This is another great scenery set called My Meadow. And so you've got this little bridge, you've got the trees, you've got some leaves, flowers, more flowers here, some rocks, some stalks, a wheelbarrow, bit of snow, and some sweet little birds. Nice small little birds. These ones I think will work because these are tiny. So we have lots of scenery stamps that you can use, as you will see if you've watched my series this week. So let me find my eye block. Hi Carol with an E. Not seen. What have you not seen? The dies, Sarah, or the stamps with the frame, I wonder. Alright. So I've got the flat side of the mountains, which I'm going to do in the lighter colour behind. So this is Balmy Blue, which I don't want. I want Seaside Spray. My cloth. Nice to have you join us, Carol. I hope you've had a good week. Thank you for your comments. I think it was on yesterday's video. That was really useful, thank you. I always love suggestions and ideas from people. Always welcome. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this up in the background. Now I haven't used a mat underneath, which I should have done really. Okay, so can you see? Because I haven't used a mat, there's that little channel here, but I'm going to stamp with a darker colour over it, so I'm not too worried. But I will put the mat down before the next one. And if not, I'll turn it over. There we go. So this is the detailed side of the mountains. Let's put this underneath. And try that again. So I said that the sun had come out about 20 minutes ago, and now it's gone in and it's very dull looking. Oh, bless you, Carol, thank you. Well, we've all got something to learn. some days my results are better than others, should put it that way. So I can put this straight on, or I can offset it slightly. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm looking for where that line is, so I can cover it up with the darker blue of the mountain. Fingers crossed. There we go, that definitely works, like so. So you can use your frame to see what that's looking like. Okay, so one thing I've learned already is to remember to come down from the top, because if I put that centrally, I've actually lost the top of the mountain. So I can just get away with it, I think, like so. But when I come to do another one, remember, if I'd used my washi tape on all four sides, that would have given me a better clue. So there we go, that's something we've learnt already. Give yourself space. So I might be lucky, I might just be able to get that stuck in there. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to use my brass and do a very little bit of scenery. You've seen me do my scenery all week, so I'm not going to do this in any detail. I might just put an edge on there though. Let me have a look. What I might put in there. So I've got this little one here, or this one here, that might work. Just trying to use some different things for you. So this is designed to look like a path. It could be in the snow or whatever. So that could be like a river, couldn't it? Or I could just go for a straight bit. Hello, Isabel. I was thinking about you this morning. How funny is that? There we go. Right. So Seaside Spray, which is on my finger as well. So what I'm just going to do is stamp that in that sort of join. And then I can use the brayer for the other bit. Now I know that edge isn't really going to be seen. So that's that. Let me grab a brayer. So what colour shall we have in the front? I'm thinking if we use this, any of these as our backing. So I've got that. So I could take this minty colour at the front, or if it was that, I could just keep it as a blue going into grey maybe. I don't want to introduce too many extra colours, so let's just try a bit more Seaside Spray. So I've got my brayer, which I've got my temporary post-it note on. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down to my left hand side because I'm right-handed. Okay, and I can see I've got a little mark, but I know that's going to be covered up by the frame. So this is not a very exciting scene. I apologise, but it will do the job for us. Let's add a little bit of balmy blue to make it darker in the very front, or in the middle. Hi Tracy. Tracy, could you do me a favour and just send a message to Joe Humphrey to say don't forget the embossing plate? just a messenger message if you get the chance. Doesn't matter if you don't. Okay, so I'm just building this up here. So this is Balmy Blue with an L, not an R. And I just want to do that little bit where that join is there. So obviously you can do anything else that we've done with the scenery this week. Bear in mind, you've only got a small area to play with. I'm actually going to just do a little bit of that mountain there. Now what I have seen done, which I think is very, very clever, and that is to take these mountains, use Versamark ink on the stamp and white embossing powder to add snow to the tops. So I might have to do that as a separate exercise, I think. I don't want to incorporate this because I think it would be too busy. So let's put something in the foreground of this, I think we need. And I want some little birds as well. So this Mountain Air stamp set has these tiny birds, which I reckon, I know some of it's going to be cut off, but as tiny as they are, I think they will go up in the distance. And remember, this is a picture we're creating. I might even, no, I'm going to use espresso. There we go. I suppose I could have some more here. What do you think? Decisions. And I think I could just have maybe some trees. So this line of trees, potentially, I could put along here. So it looks like, let's see what you think. Yeah, looks like it's looking out over a lake or something. Let's do that. Sorry, the scene was supposed to be a simple scene. Right, let's take the other mountains off. Make sure I've got the detailed side up. Like so. Let's make sure that's nice and clean. And I'm tempted to do those blue as well, or espresso. So there's, you know, like a silhouette. What do you think? Blue or espresso? Let's see what you think. See if, I can't quite decide. Sorry, that's quite a bit down from you, isn't it? I've just realised. Let me move that up a bit better, because you can't see that. So I'm going to put trees across the front, just off the bottom, remembering I know this is going to cut a little bit off. So shall I do them Night of Navy, so that all tallies? Or shall I do them espresso? So it looks like a silhouette. Well, I think they'll both be silhouettes, won't they? Any suggestions? I can't decide. I think I'm going to be brave and do espresso. Unless you stop me en route. I can see there's tiny hairs on that, but I think I'll get away with it. So espresso it is. There we go. Right. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm pinning this off. Just be careful because there'll be ink on here, and what you don't want to do is get that all over yourself. So I'm pinning that off and binning it straight away, if I can. Quite difficult when it's attached to grid paper. There we go, got it now. So just pulling it away from the picture so it doesn't ping and get ink all over it. Go. Pocket size portrait. Alright, now I want to make sure that the bottom of that scene is dry. Just going to give it a blast with the heat gun because I've got ink on ink. So taking it away from the camera so it's not too noisy. I noticed the other day when I was heat embossing, it was right up here in front of the camera, which is where the microphone is, and I realised it was so noisy. I'm sorry. Okay, so here is our frame. So I say you've got lots that you can add. I am going to add one of those in. So what I might do is do that and then layer 1, 2, my glass, and then my other layer, so that you get a little bit of 3D. Okay, so let me work that way from the back to the front. Okay, so you can ignore the fact that these are stamped. Okay, what I want to do actually is make sure I've got this as close as I can to this bit of scene, because I know that it's very close at the top. So I'm going to cut this little bit off the bottom. So when you are doing it, either put a marker for the top and the bottom, there we go. So it's taken quite a lot of that tree off, and I was thinking it wasn't, it was too far, but as it is just literally the treetops. So I'm happy with that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put glue on the back of here, put it onto there, and then take the whole thing onto that backing. So a little bit sort of Heath Robinson here, because normally I would just put that onto the back of that as opposed to putting this onto the front. If that makes any sense to anybody, it will be a miracle. Okay, just going to use a piece of plastic behind here so that my glue will just rub off, and just really carefully positioning, and all I'm doing is looking at this top here so that I've just got it covering the very top of that, like so. As I say, ignore the stamped image on here, because you could just cut plain ones out. I was just having a bit of a play, really. Okay, and I'm just putting this down on the back to get a little bit of 3D on there. So for that, just going to put a little bit of glue around these edges, like so. So this is just to build up the 3D. You could just have one there like that and be done with it, to be honest. Okay, so this is my blue front, or I've got, I just feel that's not quite like that with the matching blue. So I'm going to put that one on next, then my window sheet, and then my front. Window sheet's getting a bit dirty as it is. Okay, so bit of glue on here. So I don't know what everybody's up to this weekend, whether you're taking advantage of the lack of restrictions before Monday with the rule of 6. There's that one there. And then I'm going to pop this on the back of this piece here, like so. And let me just see how much I've got to spare. Not much. So my gut instinct is to put tape on there, because I want to keep that in position. So let me just find some. So this is our tear and tape. So I'm just going to put a bit along each one, because I just want to make sure that my window sheet is safe. And obviously you could use, I could put dimensionals on between these layers if I wanted a really thick frame. I might have a look and see what that looks like. But I want this on flat to the front piece. So as I said, I've done a few layers, but you could just literally do a front, a scene and a back. So I'm going to peel these off. Just wondering actually whether I prefer that brown . I know I haven't got the piece of thing on it. What do you reckon? Well, I'm going to put the window sheet in here anyway. Let me know if you think I should just leave that panel, because it doesn't look quite nice. So I am going to have a navy card, and then I'm going to have my wallpaper behind it. So placing that down like so, and I'm not worried for the glue sticking out, because that's going to help it stick down onto this layer. I might just add a tiny bit on these edges. Lots of the children are walking home from school. excited that it's a Friday. Okay, anybody think I should leave it dark? As I've made this layer, I'm going to put this layer on. See, my picture frame's got dust on it just like the real thing. And I quite like the fact that that square that I've cut out is slightly smaller than the edge of the frame, because it looks a bit like it's beveled, doesn't it? So now I've got a complete picture frame, like so. So let me find the base card and we'll decide on our wallpaper. I'm just going to pop that through and score it at 10.5 centimeters. I have got the sample cards from my class in a box for this month, so I'll show you all of those at the end of this session. So this is my choice of wallpaper. So we have that one. I'm going to rule that one out, I think, because I don't want to introduce a completely different colour. So this has got a bit of navy in it, and would be quite a good sort of wallpaper. Or I have the stripes. Which will pick out the navy blue. Oh, very clever, Linda. Yes, I could peel it away. Carol Wincott wouldn't like that. She doesn't like torn pieces. So what do you reckon? The stripes, the dots. Let's see what else I have. I looked at some of the florals, but they really are too big. So these are all from the same set. So I've got these tiny dots. It makes your eyes go a bit funny, doesn't it? I'm looking for anything really with the blue in. I think those are too wide. This is really fun set of papers. Big dots. I don't think that goes. It's too much white. And I've got cream as my background, really. Oh, here's one. Now I've got too many choices. Jeanette says stripes. Yeah, I think the stripes too. And you're more likely to have, oh, there is that one. So let me move these out of the way. So that's the winner, I believe, so far. But we have this one. That's too white. Those are my choices for you. So you've got stripes, so you've got all blue and white or multicoloured. I think the multicoloured does it. Oh no, that'll make your eyes get really funny. Stripes. Either of those, like with the green, yes, I think so. I think so. The green, it sort of picks out a little bit of that, doesn't it? There we go. Thank you. Okay, let's go for that. So I'm just looking at the edges. So this has got blue on the edge, which it's got lost a bit. So if I cut it there and there, then I'll have a little bit of white on each edge. So that is my plan. Now I remember many years ago doing something similar, but instead of the paper all the way up across the back, I had like a dado rail. I think these must have been smaller, or it was a very big card, one or the other. So that was quite fun. So this would normally be, I'm going to do it between 9.5 and 10, which is where I would normally have that layer. And then I'll decide if it's going to go top to bottom like that, or whether I'm going to bring it down like so, so that you've got the blue around the edge. Of course I could have done it that way. Looks a bit lost there, doesn't it? So shall I put an edge around it? That's what I feel I want to do. Oh, thanks Carol. She's got electricians there. Carol says blue and white. But that was the other piece, wasn't it? Never mind. Okay, I think I'm going to put a border all the way around so that you see this blue. Although it does then just look like another blue stripe, doesn't it? Linda says it's perfect as it is. Okay, so while I'm just deliberating if to cut that just as it is or whether to cut it with a border, my thought for this was a new home card. So we have very few new home descriptions in stamps, but I do have Well Said, which has time for a new adventure, and it also has welcome, which could be welcome to your new home, or congratulations, time for a new adventure. And that could also be somebody going off around the world, couldn't it? Let's see if those two will work together or not. This might be too big, I don't know. So this is congratulations. And time for a new adventure. So that will fit. We'll wipe this down. Now I could use a stitched edge. I could also use a piece that colour. I'm just going to go with the white because otherwise you'll be fed up of watching me, and it's coming up to 5 to 4 anyway. Let me bring my paper back. Okay, so I'm pretty sure those aren't straight on the block, so I'm not going to put them in together, because I find often they will be at different positions on the stamp. So this one goes down slightly, so I might do it as one, or I might do it as two separate pieces. Dunk, dunk. So that's Night of Navy. Bring that navy all in together. So this is Time for a New Adventure. So I'm just going to see how easy this is to stamp straight. Oh, bless you, Linda. Good luck at the dentist. Will I do this as 1 or 2? I think I'm going to do it as... Oh, I think I might do it as 2, but what I'm going to do is stamp it, and then I can decide. I can cut it into 2 then, or leave it as 1. Yeah, I definitely want it as 2, I think. There we go. So I'm just going to use my trimmer, I think, to cut this down, and I might back them, back each of those with a bit of Night of Navy, possibly. There we go. Just doing that by eye. There we go. So you could be quite accurate with this trimmer, as you can see. There we have it. So I'm going to mount this onto a little bit of blue, I think, and then just trim that down, and then I'm done. I just can't believe it's Friday already, folks. Just not right, is it? How do we get to Friday so soon? And I've got a busy weekend, followed by a busy week. There we are. So I'm just going to cut that one first. Like so. So when I've got small pieces like that, I don't bother to measure and then calculate what size this piece would be. I just pop it onto the card, as you saw, and then cut around it. Really just by eye. I'm just lining up the edge with this line here of the paper card, I should say. And this is where the new trim is so good, because it holds on to that piece of cutout underneath. There we go. Alright, one last thing then. Am I doing this all the way around? Or shall I Yeah, my gut feel is to chop that. So I've got a border all the way around. So this will be 14.35. I'm going to make it slightly bigger because I made the other edge slightly bigger. That nice inside, wouldn't it? Yeah, so that's nice and even all the way around. Don't tell me you like the spotties now. They're both nice. Okay, so that's the one that's finished. Another one. Ooh. Let's get it right. Sorry about that. That's better. Just wound that one on. It's been sat in my window. There we go. So that's going to be even Stevens around the edges. Do you think that's a very British saying? Even Stevens? I get the feeling it probably is. Okay, going to pop that one up on dimensionals. I often think when I say things is that because I do have people from Australia and America, Hawaii in that watching, and I often think when I say an expression, do they actually understand what that English sentiment means? So I'm just taking the backings off those dimensionals off screen. I'm going to pop that on there. Now you could, if you wanted to, add a brad or something to make it look like that's hanging. I have done that in the past. Take a piece of twine and stick it to the back and then you can have that attached, but I think it doesn't need that here. There's my sentiments, they're going to go. I could do them at an angle. I could do them like that. I'm afraid straight is my gut reaction today. My goodness, I've been here an hour. I know I started with a little bit of chatter to begin with, but even so. That's one good thing about watching me on replay, is that you can fast forward, especially from YouTube, and watch the picture so you can see the bits that you want. Oh, try centralising that, shall we? If you're going to put it in the centre, it better be in the centre, hadn't it? There we go. All done. So that's my picture frame scene. I will add a white layer on the inside. The stamp set that I used was called Framed For You. That is the one that has the picture frame on. I used Mountain Air for the mountains and the trees here. And I also use the square layering squares dies that do all the different layers just of squares. We have one of circles and one of ovals as well. So that is it. Let me show you the Framed For You stamp set. So all I've actually done with this one is use that frame. I haven't used anything else. I'll plan to use those for another day. thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed my stamper scene from this week. So something different each day. If you haven't seen the other ones, you can watch those on Catch Up on Facebook, or you can watch them on my YouTube channel. I am going to show you the cards and everything for my class in a box, but I think what I'm going to do is finish here now, because that's an hour. An hour for me is more than enough, and I'll do a separate video which I'll post, which shows you the cards for the class in a box, which closes on Sunday, and also the contents of what you get in the box. Okay, thank you so much everybody. I appreciate you joining me, whether it was live or on replay or on YouTube. Any questions? Jenny@geminicraft.co.uk is my email address, or you can comment on the video here on YouTube or on Facebook. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Look after each other. Look after your loved ones. And I hope you can keep crafting. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Oh, thank you, Jeanette. You too.